everybody, this is Hanshaw. Today's show is going to be a little bit different than most of mine. I want to make a show, and I've been asked to do this by a few people, about my diagnosis of muscular dystrophy in 1984 when I was 14 years old. Now, I'm 48 years old, so I've had facioscapulohumeral, also called FSH Muscular Dystrophy, for 34 years. I want to tell you a little bit of my story because some of you all have asked for it. And I've been a motivational speaker for over 20 years, and I've spoken to crowds upwards to 1,000 people or more, and on television about my story. And I wrote a book or two. I think I wrote 2 books about my story. And well, there's one book primarily about my story. There's another book that includes my story in that book. So at any rate, I want to say first and foremost that if you are suffering with facioscapulohumeral muscular dystrophy, you're my hero. You're a warrior. You're a survivor. You're a strong person. Now, I don't mean physically strong, of course. I mean strong up here, strong in here. You have a strong mind and a strong heart and a strong will to survive, to fight. Because every day living with this incurable disease that slowly and steadily and surely eats away at your muscle groups in your body takes a toll. And one has to be a very strong-minded, strong-willed, strong in character individual to fight this battle every day, all day, 24 hours a day, knowing full well there's no cure, there's no therapy, there's no pill you can take that's going to make it better. It only progressively and slowly gets worse and worse with each passing year. My story is not unlike most people with FSH muscular dystrophy. I was a normal young teenager until I was about 12 years old. I played basketball, I played football, rode a bicycle. I was normal. Although I had the gene in me, I didn't know it. My older brother was diagnosed when he was a late teenager. I knew he had it by the time I was 12, but I certainly didn't know I had it. And when I was 14, 2 years later is when I was actually diagnosed, and I'll get into why all that came about in a minute. So, one night during a football game, I was usually the quarterback of the football games when we played out in the backyards and of where we lived in our neighborhoods, because I had a pretty good throwing arm. So during the game one fall night in 1984, I believe it was October, my left leg began buckling out from underneath me. I began falling down without warning. I would run, I would fall, I would get back up, I'd run a little bit, I'd fall again. Didn't know what was going on. So I went to the doctor a couple of weeks after that because I kept falling. and they said, you have got what your older brother has. You have facioscapulohumeral muscular dystrophy. Now, hearing those words really didn't mean a great deal to me then. My right leg was still strong. I had strength in both of my arms, so that didn't mean a great deal to me then. 34 years later, those words mean a lot to me. I now can no longer walk. I can no longer stand. It began in my left leg, went to my left arm, went to my right leg and my right arm. And over these years, when I was able to walk, I have fallen dozens and dozens of times. Thank goodness I never did break a bone. I remember one time I was in a garage getting my car fixed that I was driving. It was a truck. And I went to walk away from my truck. I just parked it, and I was going to walk in the waiting area and sit down. And out of nowhere, my left leg just buckled, and I fell on the concrete floor, hitting my cheekbone flat down on it. I hit so hard it bounced my head up off the concrete, and everybody that saw that, which was, I don't know, 20 or 30 people there, thought that it had for sure knocked me out. But it didn't. It left a knot on my cheek about the size of a small walnut. I went to the hospital and I had a concussion. But in other falls I've had, cut my knees, cut my elbows, all of that. But it never broke my will. It never broke my determination to fight, to battle it, to endure, because I had no other choice. Muscular dystrophy has made me the man that I am today in a lot of ways. It's made me a hard man. It's made me I don't want to say a tough man, but for lack of a better word, it's made me a tough man. It's made me see life through a different set of lenses than most people will ever look through. And now, 34 years later, I've authored over 70 books. I've done tons of charity work. When I was a Christian, which I'm no longer a Christian, I pastored 4 churches. Last week, I was commissioned to be a Kentucky colonel by the governor of Kentucky, which is the highest honor that one can be bestowed here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and I'm really humbled by that. I'm thankful for that someone recognized my hard work over the years. I've never been one to be lazy. I've never been one to play many video games, and I consider that a waste of time. I want to be as productive as I can while I can, helping as many people as I can. So, my dad never did really accept I and my brother's muscular dystrophy. He was a big, strong brute of a man. He was overbearing, and I'm not going to get into all that. I've written a book or two about that too. But he never did really accept it. He wanted to put me in a nursing home when I was 18 years old. My mom wouldn't let him. And me and him never got along. He died 6 years ago. We never got along because of his overall attitude and actions toward my mother and toward me and my brothers. But my mother, on the other hand, has always been my best friend. She has been there to be my caregiver when no one else would. I've been married 3 times. When all the women walked out on me, which they did, I always knew I had my mother to fall back on to take care of me. And now my mom's in a nursing home. And now it's her turn for someone to take care of her. I live with a caregiver now that's absolutely marvelous. Could not ask for a better caregiver. She's wonderful. And I'm truly blessed to have this woman in my life. I'm not going to call her name. It's not important. But those that know me know who she is. So I'm going to wrap this up by saying that yes, muscular dystrophy totally changed my life. I've known what it is to be healthy. I know what it is to be sick. And you know, in school, I would look at these guys who would break a leg, and everybody would surround, especially if they were athletes. They would surround them, and they would, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I knew they were going to get better. I knew they were going to get over that eventually, whereas I never would. I knew that I was going to be stuck with that leg brace on my left leg through my sophomore, junior, and senior year of high school, which I was. I knew that I was going to be in a wheelchair from the first day I went to college until now. I knew that the day was going to come when I could no longer bear weight and stand up on my own 2 feet and walk without assistance. That day came in March of 2010. In 2009, my older brother died at 46 years old due to complications of the FSH Muscular Dystrophy and diabetes. I miss him immensely. He was the last of many, many people that I have known over the years to die with muscular dystrophy. I've known probably 20, 30 people or more to die with MD over the years. In 2009, I was diagnosed with COPD due to the weakening muscles around my lungs. This year, for the first time in my life, I came down with double pneumonia. Thank goodness my doctors and I caught it in time, because that's a leading cause of death in patients with MD. Also this year, I found out that my core muscles from my stomach, my ribs, and my back are deteriorating. which is causing me a lot more pain. It's now painful when I sit. It's painful when I lay down. It feels like someone is constantly bear hugging me all the time. From what I've been told by doctors and nurses and people in the medical field, this is not good. And I know it's not good. Your core muscles are one of your main muscle groups in your body. So after 34 years of fighting FSH MD, here I am. And I'm not giving up. I'm still fighting to the best I can. Still enduring to the best I can. But I do have a living will. And I have chosen, when the day comes, to die with dignity. I'm not going to be put in a nursing home. I've chosen to die with dignity. I'm not going to be resuscitated or intubated if and when that time ever comes. That's my personal choice. If you have FSHMD, I'm not saying you should do likewise. You do what your heart tells you to do. I'm just telling you how I'm going to do it, how I've chosen to do it. So, I hope this video's helped you. I'm going to wrap it up. If you have FSHMD, keep fighting. Keep enduring. Keep on keeping on is what I have to tell you. Never let someone define you because of your disability. Never let someone look down upon you because of your disability. Hold your head up high. Be proud that you are a survivor in this thing called life. Y'all have a good day.